Guys, welcome to another episode of The Greek Audio Geek. I'm Michael, I'm Greek, I'm an audio geek. I am so excited for what we have in the Greek crib today. I've waited almost 30 years for this. What is it? Why am I so excited? Stay tuned and I'll give you an overview. I'm going to be breaking out the videos going forward into smaller segmented videos versus one long video. So this is kind of the intro overview of the new gear we have in the house, balanced audio technology, 80 integrated. And I'm really excited for this. And this is like 30 years in the making. What do I mean by that? So for those of you who are old like me and you saw the original Wayne's World, and you remember when they went, we're going to go back in time or replay. Well, that's kind of what we're doing here. So humor me. Let's go back to the mid-90s. The mid-90s for me was a time when stereophile was king. This is before they were bought out and they changed their format and everything they did and all that. There was a time where this magazine was so thick and the terminology they used were words I had never heard of, and it was so detailed. And everywhere I went, I carried it under my arm, and I would read it from cover to cover, sometimes twice. And I would always have to fight so that when I got the new episode, because when you get the first new episode, and you smell it, it was almost like a drug hit. Oh, new Stereophile. What would they cover? Guys, Stereophile and the writers of Stereophile, they were kingmakers. They could make or break a brand. If your brand was covered in Stereophile, you were on top of the world. And I remember the first time I saw and even read about balanced audio technology. Ever since then, I've heard so many great things about it. I really wanted to try it in my system. So I'm very excited for this. For me, this is full circle to when I was in my 20s and I was starting to start that audiophile journey. It was a moment I will never forget. I was with a friend. We were in Rhode Island. We went to a high-end audio dealership there, and he had the new Krell integrated. I think it was the 150i. It was sleek. It was beautiful. He had a pair of stand-mounted focal speakers. It was my first experience to high-end audio versus the mass market stuff. Remember Circuit City, all those places. And it was like a revelation. And so this comes from that time where I think that we have gone down the road today of everything is new is better, all the new technologies are better. Guys, I'm not so sure. I don't think that progress is always better in sound. I think that tried and tested tube audio designs and some of the classic stuff, not that this is old or outdated or a classic, but I really think that they got it right. And the more we try and improve stuff, sometimes the more we make it worse. So that's my intro to why I am so excited about this guy in the Greek crib. I want to share with you some specs about it. So it's 55 watts a channel. It uses 4 of the Russian 6C33C tubes. They are big tubes. And I'll tell you, when I was setting it up last night with the help of Mrs. Greek, it was interesting. First of all, the tubes are massive. They're big tubes. My understanding, and guys, I don't pretend to be technical, is that these can these can utilize and produce so much more current than your typical KT88 tubes. So it's going to allow you from a musical point of view to have more oomph to it. Each one was numbered, so you knew where it went, both the smaller ones and the larger ones, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. They fit in easily, perfectly. It was set up in a matter of minutes. And then when you turn it on, it goes through a warm-up cycle before it's ready to go. It is a fully balanced design. I am going to be utilizing the balanced inputs. I'm going to be using Signal Project cables, and I've got some reviews coming up on Signal Project cables because I needed a new balanced cable. I didn't have, the only interconnect I had was a Siltec, and I was ready to move on to something new. So stay tuned on that. That's going to be separate. But it is a fully balanced design. And it comes in at about 45, 50 pounds, so it's not too heavy. It's also got auto bias built in. And what's great is that there's a little green LED right next to each one of the giant power tubes. And you can see it from the top when you're looking down into it. And so long as it's glowing green, you know everything is fine with that tube. If it's not, then you have to replace the tube or see what's going on. So it will automatically adjust the bias on the tube so that you get the best sound and the longest life out of the tubes. Guys, I love auto bias designs. My VAC is the same way. Although I don't mind if I have to manually adjust a tube amp if it comes with some sort of LED or adjustment that I can see a dial so I can see when it's dialed right. I will tell you there are tube amps I've owned in the past where I was almost afraid to turn them on because when you start adding up the cost, they needed to be biased at the factory. So by the time I would ship it back to the factory, pay for new tubes, pay for them to bias, pay for them to ship it back, to me, that was cost prohibitive and it made me never want to turn the amp on. I love the idea of just being able to get new tubes. If there's a problem, pop it in, it's ready to go. I love the looks of this BAT amp. It is unique, which is really hard to do with so many just regular box components out there. It's great looking, it's got great finish, fit and feel to it. The way the back is done in terms of the speaker inputs, it's a great, easy, ingenious way. It's got 4 terminals, 2 positive, 2 negatives for each channel. And then it shows you on the manual how you hook up the cable to each one of those 4 if you have a lower impedance speaker, a normal impedance speaker, or a high impedance speaker. It's a really great, unique way from what I've seen, because everything else I've seen only has 1 negative, and then they may have a couple of positive taps. This has 2 positive, 2 negative, and then depending upon, it shows in the manual how to hook it up and get it just right for you. So when amps have that type of system matching, that type of speaker, if I can speak, speaker matching, it's going to allow you to get the best sound possible. We're going to be matching it up with these Tobians, the 12FH horn speakers, which are really efficient. I think they're about 97 or 98 dBs. So it is in burn-in cycle now. I'm going to put between 300 and 400 hours on it before I do any type of critical listening. So I'm really excited that this is in the Greek crib. In fact, one of my viewers joked and said it's not the Greek crib or a man cave right now, it's the bat cave, because you got bat in the house. And I actually thought that was pretty clever and funny. So I'm excited about it. We're going to be doing a variety of videos and testing different speakers. I have other speakers coming in that we're going to be testing this with as well. I've got a host of new cables that I'm going to be trying, interconnect, stuff like that. And I'm just going to be really sharing with you. I'm going to be posting some unique, my custom photos that I usually do on my Instagram and Facebook account. So please check them out there. Guys, if you can't tell, I get a lot of gear in, or I say no to a lot of gear. I'm really excited about this. Oh, one last thought. You've seen my videos before on what it's like to deal with some companies and some distributors and how important that is to me. When I say promote a company, I'm not saying I'm getting paid. I'm not getting paid for this at all. In terms of putting it on my channel and talking about it and helping them from a publicity point of view, the people at BAT have been phenomenal. Super responsive, super helpful. I want to give them a shout out. Guys, A++, you know I want to support companies that are good to their customers and their consumers. So absolutely huge check plus for them on that. All right, guys, stay tuned. We'll have another one coming soon. I'm the Greek Audio Geek, and I approve of this message. Oppa!